Hello, Rob.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. And Billy, hello.
Hello.
We have air conditioning here.
It's lovely.
It feels great.
It's a lovely thing. Okay, so should we let people talk, or should we keep going?
Hey, quiet in the back. Hey.
Billy's
settle
a
in.
heavy. Okay.
This is why I love Billy.
Yeah, no,
It's
this is-
multifunctional role play.
Okay, I want to start with two things in the news that people certainly have heard about.
I'm looking at you in the blue shirt. Quiet in the back, buddy. Blue shirt.
He doesn't know he's wearing a blue shirt.
Short sleeve blue shirt. Hey.
I'm
Quiet in the back
terrified.
there, buddy.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's start over. Okay.
Are we going to talk about Keir Starmer? Is
Oh,
that-
wait. Well,
No.
I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
in the news.
I would love to know your
Billy's
thoughts
like,
on
Keir
that.
Starmer, Prime Minister of this little country.
Yeah.
You won't have heard of it.
It's amazing to be in France and you wake up to headlines before anyone else in the U.S. gets them. It's kind of nice. Okay, so two things. Okay, I know that you can't say very much because things are in process, but let's see, 8 days ago, the news came out that Fox is acquiring Roku for $22 billion. And I know, but it's a big deal. And so I think that, would love what you can say. And I mostly want to know how, I think for people who work in the media business, it was a real shift in thinking about, suddenly not thinking about content, but thinking about distribution. So anything you can say about Roku at the moment?
Yeah, not really. I mean, so it was a good wind-up, though.
Yeah,
For your fastball,
yeah.
I was just waiting for it.
I was waiting for you to jump in.
No, I think, first of all, what I would say is at Fox, we're just incredibly excited about the prospect of the acquisition, obviously. But as you say, there's still a long road yet before it's actually finalized. And I think really for us, as people in our position have been in that before, at Fox Entertainment, we
Sure.
really just have to focus on the things we're doing at the moment, which we've gone out of our traditional business. We were left after the sale to Disney with no studio, no distribution.
Yeah.
So we have been building up not only our network strategy under changing times in the media business, but also the studio and now distribution. And now, very luckily, I think we have a real opportunity in entertainment through Fox Creative Studios, which obviously Billy is providing. But yeah, going back to Roku, I'd just say, I think, I direct you, there was an investor call, I'm sure
Yes.
some of you may have heard, and I thought Lachlan and the senior team sort of laid out their thoughts on
Very
the acquisition
clearly.
there very clearly, and I'd point everyone to that because that's certainly as much as I can say on that.
Okay, well said. Okay, then the second thing, because it ties into, before we get into the creator conversation, I want to talk about Fox, right? And, I think people don't necessarily know how much Fox Entertainment is doing. It's come a long way since its days. It's the fourth broadcast network, obviously. And I want to start with sports and something called the World Cup that is happening right now. And Fox has become so dominant in sports. And I would love to know, I think there are probably a lot of learnings right now that you're finding out from the audience. And just what are you seeing? What can you share with the people here about what's going on?
Well, I think so. Fox Sports. So I run the entertainment division at Fox. Eric Shanks runs the sports division. And what I'd say about Eric is he's at his heart a sports producer. And I think that one of the reasons that Fox is so dominant in sports is because the people running that division are so passionate about the creation and about the programming around sports. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think you see, so much fandom built around our broadcast, is because the people who are making that are putting their creative first. I think there's a lot of discussion about sports, about entertainment content, about news content, that it's content. And there is this idea there's just pipes of content.
Right.
And people will turn up. But I think what you're seeing around the World Cup is a beautifully executed example of how to create passion, excitement, fandom around a global sporting event, and I think it's something that Fox is uniquely positioned to do.
So, as a lead-in to to entertainment, how are you seeing how are you seeing that symbiosis between Fox Entertainment and Fox Sports?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a huge part of how we work. Again, we work very closely. They're obviously on the network. We made the decision together with sports to give a lot of our programming scheduling over the last month to sports. I think there are a lot of new viewers coming into the tent. I think there are a lot of, that means new opportunities to acquire new viewers for our entertainment content. I think one of the difficulties of it is obviously you're putting a lot of sports content on the network at the same time. You're taking away entertainment. So we have to maintain a viewership habit. That's very much a broadcast model.
Right.
So that's a challenge. But I think the pros far outweigh the cons because you're getting this massive sampling, and as I said, new audience coming in, and we're obviously able to use the promotion. We have a lot of our talent involved in a lot of the broadcasts, and we when we think about our content strategy, we often think about shows which are going to promote well within sports. So the NFL. So we have some unscripted shows like World's Toughest Test, which is a special forces show with celebrities. It's very dynamic. It felt like a show that was going to appeal there. We have a number of game shows like The Floor. Again, a fantastic promo opportunity for them, but not just because of the reach of the NFL or the World Cup. It's because we specifically have shows that we believe are going to appeal to the types of people who are watching those shows.
And you launched a new scripted series that's a hit. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think we've had our best mid-season for 12 years. We had 3 shows which had multi-platform viewing, over 12 million viewers, and that was a combination of a show called Best Medicine, which is a remake of Doc Martin, a UK show. That is also Memory of a Killer, which stars Patrick Dempsey, which is actually a serialization of a movie. And then we had Fear Factor, a new version of Fear Factor that actually had the housemates all live together. It became a serialized version of Fear Factor, not like standalones like it used to be, hosted by Johnny Knoxville. And all of those shows had that secret sauce, that special something that you just felt as they played within NFL content that it really popped, and we had great response from that. So the strategy's working so far. This year we have Baywatch launching in that January slot, so we're super excited about that. And another great show called The Interrogator, which stars Stephen Fry, who some of you the UK people probably know better than the US or other countries, and we have some new unscripted shows as well. We have a dating show called Marriage Market. So we have returning
Wait,
shows.
Go back. Explain Marriage Market.
So Marriage Market is the idea that dating in the modern world has become pretty difficult, and that we are testing the theory that that this actually happens in China. This is where the idea came from. That you go into a market like a big convention center, you are taken into that market by your parents or sister or closest friends, and you sit in a stall, as you might do in the palais, and then the parents wander around, and then they choose people that you should marry, and then if there's a match, you actually get married there and then in the market on stage. Yeah, and that is how Billy met his wife.
She got me in the return aisle.
Okay, so you bring in this guy this year. You're in your 4th month now on the job? Is
3
that-
months.
3 months.
3 months.
Okay. All right. So, Rob, you've been doing everything: studios, live, unscripted, scripted. So, tell me how this relationship happened. Why Billy Parks, head of creators for Fox now?
Well, I mean, I'll let Billy go for the. I mean, he is obviously the expert in this space. A few years ago, I mean, we've been interested in this space for decades,
Sure.
as all producers have. About 2 years ago, we had a show called Has Been Hotel, which came from an internet show. We partnered our studio which is Bento Box, an animation studio, with A24. We made this show, Has Been Hotel, and it's now gone to 5 seasons on Amazon. And I think from that, I saw one element, and it's only one element, Billy will talk about the others, of how you could take and find high-level premium content on YouTube or other social channels. You could take that IP, you could scale it, you could put infrastructure around it, you could put some know-how about it, maintaining the creative voice of the original creator, and actually scale and monetize that content. So it began 2 years ago. And then we still needed to find out how to sort of make some money around it out there, because you can't always rely on every piece of IP going to a third party. And so, very clever ads team led by Kat Kukash, who's over there, and our team of in strategy came up with a plan and a way to aggregate content and use our 400 or 500 strong direct ad sales team to sell around it, which obviously improves on the programmatic advertising that most creators get. So then I had a creative idea, I had a financial idea, and then it was down to looking for Billy. And then, I met a lot of people in the space. I went to sat in the back of a lot of rooms like this, incognito, just listening to creators, listening to agents, listening to people. I was at one Creator Summit last year in Brooklyn, and this guy walked past to the stage. I thought it was security. It was Billy. and Billy went upstage, and I listened to him talk for 20 minutes, and I thought, that guy's very impressive. And then I met him, and he quite frankly has all what I find of the DNA of Fox. He's entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
He's very creative. He's really dynamic, and he likes to have fun. So
Go on.
yeah. All right, he's good looking. And that was why. And then we were very lucky to have him start only a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
And so, Billy, I'm curious. You've done a lot of cool things in the creator space, and then Rob Wade from a legacy studio comes along and
Saw me from across the room.
exactly.
Yep.
So I mean, was your first instinct to not
Send him to voicemail.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch.
No, I was. No, I rocked right past him in the marriage market. But no, I thought it was like. No, I mean, I will say that the idea of I have seen as we've kind of been through the creator economy 1.0 and 2.0. I don't know what.
Are we in 3.0?
I don't know what 0.0 we are in
Okay,
now, but
okay.
I agree that we're in a really interesting time,
Yeah.
and I think we've seen coming from Chernin, who invested in Fullscreen and watching
Sure.
that get acquired, watching Awesomeness get acquired, and watching all of these great companies who were working really hard to make at scale the creator economy work. A lot of that work was teaching brands how to work with them, scaling up their media, and teaching creators how to work with brands. And then it also had to do with creators really going from being talent to being kind of CEOs of their businesses. Yeah. And I saw a lot of those stages both at Chernin and at Slow Ventures, and then working at various of the portfolio companies at the Chernin Group. And often legacy media companies have had real trouble kind of binding together the needs of the creator economy, both
Right.
from on the ad side, the way to work with them creatively and production wise, and how to monetize those businesses with traveling IP or not traveling the IP. And it's hard to find a time and a place where they're actually working together kind of in symphony, and the kind of the way in which Rob and the strategy team and Kat talked about building an actual business on the internet that wasn't focused on moving creators from where they matter the most and where they have the most powerful connection with their audience, and just trying to port them somewhere else as like a number one goal was a great first step, and I was really excited to learn about that.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're going to continue to build on.
So, you know, on the creator side, you have deals with big names, right? You have Josh Charles, Josh Richards. Sorry, I always call him Josh Charles.
No problem.
Different. So, and you know, we interviewed Josh Richards here last year. He had like a group of, I think, University of Alabama sorority girls following him everywhere. Like he did not know them; they were just following him. I mean, you know, an enormous audience. And so, I just want to hear the Fox. Like, what is the Fox pitch to get these creators, many of them quite young, who did not grow up watching linear television, might not have affection for any legacy studio as a brand. Like, how are you convincing them to bring part of their business to Fox?
I think Josh Richards is a really good example, and I'd actually like to hear you talk about what you liked about him. Josh still has sorority girls following him all over the place. And I think, you know, we think of influencers or we think of creators as these, oh, they have a bunch of followers and they're cute and they're beautiful, and there's obviously some strand of the shiny creators. And quite frankly, when Oren from UTA was like, you got to meet this guy, I was like, oh, you know, we'll see. Like, let's check it out. It was like, it didn't pop off to me as somebody who might inherently want to create a media business. And then we met him, and he had spent several $100,000 of his own dollars to make a sketch comedy show that he got together all of his, you know, his other influencer friends, all that were like serious about acting and comedy, and they went and they tried to make a great sketch comedy show. And the first season of it was like good. And then I watched some of that, and then I watched the first couple sketches of the second season of it, and it was remarkably better. And I was like, let me meet this guy, and I met him, and his partner Chris Sawtell, who works
who's great.
Who's lovely, and we listened to them tell the story, and I'd like you to chime in on this too, because I think the same thing sparked with Rob is like, he was very clearly interested in building IP. And taking what he had received by being a cute boy who was in a cute boy house doing cute boy TikTok stuff, and turn that into a real business and a real opportunity to tell stories and make a show.
Right, because cute boys grow up eventually.
Cute boys grow up, and he will talk very intelligently about how he's growing with his audience and what they're looking for, different things that they're looking for now, and he wants to provide new things for them, and he just has an itch he wants to scratch, just like comedians used to go and do $5 shows for years and years and years in the club, and then somebody would tap them and say, okay, you're ready to be Roseanne in a sitcom. He's not waiting. He's turning that audience into a show, a series that we're really excited to be a part of.
I mean, Rob, you have spent the bulk of your career spotting talent, right, and making bets on talent. So, I mean, this is not entirely different from...
No, it's exactly the same. I mean, so I spent a lot of time as a producer, and I produced a lot of music shows. I spent literally days and days and days meeting thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Like that was my job for many years. And then I worked in unscripted, and then now into scripted. And you start to meet people, and you start to understand what you know the feel is going to be someone that you are going to believe in, right?
Right.
So I met Josh, same as Billy, had no expectations, and he came across as someone with great ambition, conviction, a desire and a thirst to learn. A clear goal in which a way to grow and grow his business, but at the heart of it, most of all, he was just passionate about the creativity, and it was really exciting. And you don't always have meetings like that. You often have meetings where you feel people are angling for something, or angling for finance, or angling for maybe status, and just like this is just one of many tranches of money they want to take. But this was someone I felt like really understood the ethos of our studio, which is to invest in people we believe in, and that has been the ethos of Fox Studios for 100 years, and that's what we're good at. And I think there's an element that you should try and stay in your lane, and we're trying to stay in that lane.
Right.
You know.
Well, so YouTube makes the argument to creators. You're going to own everything, grow on YouTube, and how are you countering that?
Well, I think what we offer is we split the IP with them.
Yeah.
So we still want them to be. We want to partner with them.
Yes.
So and that's not right for every creator.
Right.
And I think creators should, if it's super important for them, to not have partners in what they're doing.
Yeah.
We do not give them creative notes unless we're invited
Wow.
in to ask.
Wow.
We do not approve edits. We do not tell them who to cast in their programs.
Okay.
We are available. Yeah.
Oh my
There you are. There you are. Oh, I like that. I like when I say things and people
Yeah.
clap. It's nice.
I think that was clapping at you specifically.
That's right. Yeah. For whatever reason. But so the offering, they have to be comfortable with the idea that they're going to share IP. And I say that to every agent and every manager and every creator I talk to. Please don't come in here and pitch me ideas
Yep.
if you're not looking for a partner.
Okay.
Like I said, we try to be very equitable in the sense that it's their show. It's going on their channels.
Yep.
Some creators are very excited about distribution everywhere up front, which is to say, oh, can it go to this platform? Can it go to that platform? Can we sell it to TV in Canada? Can we do all of those things? Some people like get the idea that their content is places, the better for them. And some of them are like, no, we'd like it to be on our YouTube channels first, and that's fine. Their YouTube channels first,
Yep.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
But also there was a great creator who came in with an idea who said, these are the 10 things that I've done on my channel that have blown up. It's, they've gotten this many, like total data-backed pitch on a series he wanted to do that was a game show. And I heard the idea. I'm like, sounds cool. You know your audience better than I do. But by the way, down the hall with Rob and his team, there's about 100 years of experience making great game shows that know the mechanics, whether you're doing it over one episode or a whole series, that know what has worked. I mean, every time I mention an idea to Rob, he's like, oh yeah, they did that in Canada 12 years ago, or they did this in UK, it's like this and this. I'm like, do you want to like just meet those guys? Not because those guys and gals are approving your idea, but they have like a lot of institutional knowledge that can support where you want to go with it. And so we try to build a relationship like that with them. Or some of them are like, I know my idea, I don't need any help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how we work with them.
Well,
Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. So Rob, I'm curious like how you feel about this. Like these creators have kind of, they are so attuned to their audiences. They know exactly what they respond to and when, and they're obsessed with audience growth. And as we've seen with Backrooms and Obsessions and Iron Lung, like they're also coming in with these fandoms, right? And so typically in a legacy studio, you launch something and you put a lot of money towards marketing and hope it takes, right? And so how are you thinking about how these built-in audiences will impact what you're doing?
I mean, I'm delighted. I mean, that's probably the most exciting thing about it. And, obviously I'm learning a lot along the way. I think connected to that, what I'm seeing is we as a industry need to redefine a metric on audience, because most of us have been comfortable with saying, well, this show gets this rating or this many millions of viewers, or on YouTube or TikTok it gets this many views, and it's kind of success, if you will, of content is aggregated or measured rather on scale, right?
Right.
So one of the things I think we need to think about as a business, and I don't have the answer to this yet, and I've got some intelligent people in our research team trying to work on it, is how do you measure engagement? So just because like a piece of content goes out and reaches tens of millions of people on that person's channel, right? There could be another piece of content that goes out and is only watched by 300,000 people on a smaller channel, but those 300,000 people could have watched the entire clip through. They could be avid fans. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, yes, it's exciting to me that people have their own audience, they understand them and know how to service them. But I'm also think it's important for us to sort of really understand how are you servicing them? Sometimes someone says, I put this clip up and I got, like a 50 million views. And I'm like, yeah, but like, it's just because they like you, I don't think that's a measurement of the piece of
Right.
content. And then there's other things where people will show me something and they've only had 150,000, 200,000 views on something, and I'm like, this is a great bit
Yeah.
of content. What this piece of content needs is help with distribution
Right.
and marketing. And by the way, there are marketing strings we can pull,
Right.
and we will be like, when the Fox machine gets behind something, it's not like it's going to be like a promo in MasterChef, right?
Right.
But we have a huge amount of digital presence. One of the things I didn't talk about earlier was our food content. We have
Yes.
Gordon Ramsay, and so we have a lot of food creators, and we have Gordon is obviously got a huge amount of food followers on all social platforms. We obviously have a huge amount of our content recut and redistributed on YouTube as well. So there's a big food Fox fandom culture. So off of that, one of the things we've been able to do is we made an investment in a company called Hexclad, which was that sells like high-end pots, premium pans, and knives and things like that. And we've been helped to really grow that product. So we have an investment in that. Gordon has an investment in that. So just want to throw that out there because that's another example of like when you think about, oh, are you comfortable with people speaking to their audience? Like, yeah, because if they speak to their audience and then they have an idea for either a product, a services, an event, or whatever it might be, we can help build the infrastructure and help market that event through, a vast, advertising inventory across news, sports, entertainment, and all of it. So I think
Billy
that could be a huge help.
Billy has things he's dying to say.
Oh, yeah. Always. But no, I love that. I think that the idea that, what makes is it a view? What's the metric? I mean, there's investments that we've made in other companies that I've worked at where the media value of the creator is not a lot, right? You can't sell a lot of media against them. They're not making a lot of views. But they did $7 million in sales and products the year before. And turning our aperture with our first slate of content with Josh and a lot of other great creators was a very what I would call broad, but like with deep, passionate communities of creators that were everything from short form, YouTube-centric, TikTok-centric, Instagram-centric, scripted, non-scripted, funny. Like we went across the board to really kind of test what we're doing and seeing what pops, and all IP that we're really excited about. I think we'll see in the future content creators that are like really focused on kind of having these voices of authority that are driving into products and services as well, and
Right.
using the Fox ecosystem to help drive some great outcomes for them.
Right.
So the willingness to spend of your audience
Yeah.
is like an amazing metric.
So, we're here at Cannes Lion, and there are creators walking around up and down the set and at every event. They're trying to get FaceTime with CMOs. They're all running their own businesses. So can you just talk to me about how Fox bridges that for creators? How are you getting involved in deal making on the revenue side?
Yeah, do you want to talk about the advertising side?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of creators want to spend time talking to CMOs, and some creators want to spend a ton of time making content.
Right.
And I think what we offer at Fox is creators should have relationships all across the board. But I think for a lot of creators that want to be in the business of creating and building that relationship with their audience, we also offer a great opportunity for our ad sales team to support what they're doing, right?
Yep.
So Kat and her team, they get our slate just in the same way they get Baywatch. And
Right.
they bring it to all the same folks, or one of our food creators is the same way they're getting Gordon's shows. And they're building that ad muscle across the creator content in a way where the creators can say, like, the creators are working with our ad sales team, and the ad sales team goes right to the CMOs and brand direct and media companies and is able to then, build an ad-supported model for that content in the same way we do for our television shows. So it's a great opportunity for them to kind of leave that to us. And by the way, if they want to bring in their own brands to it, or their agents want to bring in their own brands to it, we're used to working with them as well. Yeah.
Rob, given your unscripted background, do you see like a melding eventually of creators and unscripted?
Yeah, I mean, I see a melding of everything.
Yeah.
I see, the ecosystem being, one big matrix. I think I see a lot of similarities in unscripted. I mean, I started as a producer in unscripted in like '98, and we were making. I mean, this might sound familiar. We were working and making TV shows. We were all in our 20s. We were like making them with like
on a dime.
DV cameras on a dime with like a 3-person crew, editing them ourselves and putting them out.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing, and it developed into a more bigger business, and it took a bit of time. So yeah, I think all of this is going to meld into one big ecosystem, and I think really the mindset for me that you have to have as an executive now is to find. You have to be willing to look for and find content everywhere, but ultimately distribute that everywhere. Okay,
right.
And that's kind of the ethos we have is being really willing to go and like look for this content and these creators in every nook and cranny, and then be able to escalate and scale that content.
Okay, for the ad audience here, so we have just a few more minutes here. I'd love to hear from both of you. What is the one thing brands should stop saying about creators? Is there something they're getting wrong?
I mean, I think I wouldn't put it that way. So
Okay.
I mean, it's a learning process, right?
Right.
Like I think brands and media agencies coming from traditional, who are used to like spending at scale and a certain way of working, they're all learning how to like participate in a more digital forward creator ecosystem. I think it's all a learning.
Yeah.
I think a lot of creators they think it's legacy media, but like I said, when I first started, I was producing commercials and music videos in the same way Rob was producing, reality shows, and we are doing all the same things that creators are doing. And I think the ad community is just learning how to spend in a different way and find audiences where they are. And it used to be Friends on Thursday night and the back of the New York Times, and now there's Ankler, and there's all these. It's not a big river anymore. It's a bunch of little streams.
Yes.
So yeah, you just got to figure out how to fish in all the little streams.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Rob, I'm curious what you think. Everyone has their hot take on Hollywood and obsession and backrooms. What do you think will be the right and maybe wrong lessons out of that?
Well, I think there's a narrative a little bit on those. I mean, I think for me, those are low budget horror films, and they are created by people who are native to YouTube. But I think ultimately there was a lot of traditional media producers, A24 marketing support, theatrical distribution. And there's a whole business in that behind it, right?
Right. So, there's a Peter Chernin, a Jason Blum. I mean,
exactly.
Yes.
This is Markiplier, something like that, which was a much more YouTube native show, which was acquired by him, produced, acted, starred by him, and then put out by him, using his YouTube audience and fandom to identify areas within the country where they would fill out cinemas. That to me is a much more true kind of example of a creator-led success story. But nonetheless, it's a good story. But I just don't think. I think they're the exceptions to rule, not the rule. I still think that is not necessarily a scalable business, right? I think really that's a story of creators leaving YouTube and becoming bigger in traditional media, and that's not really the story that I like or believe in. The story I believe in is YouTube creators finding ways to amplify their content and monetize their content on YouTube, other digital channels, through distribution internationally. Right. And then, maybe a piece of that is that the distribution goes on traditional platforms, or indeed with movies, at least to a theatrical release. But it isn't the be-all and end-all of what I think we're looking for.
Okay, so last question for both of you. The next great Fox franchise will come from where in 5 years, do you think?
That's a great question. I mean, I think the truth is the whole point is we have a very strong traditional business.
Yeah.
We are finding hits. We have a studio which makes shows which we own. We have a show called Animal Control, which is now in its 5th season. It's a comedy show which has just been on Netflix, which was the #1 comedy on Netflix. We're now seeing bigger international sales for that. So I've told you about Best Medicine, which we also produce, co-own, and distribute. So we have all this traditional media that is working, and the way that we're looking at that is, again, rather than this just being a network play, it's a multi-platform play. We are monetizing in many, many different ways across many, many different places. So that's going well. Then we have a new business that we're looking at, right? Which are in the creator space, which is obviously disrupting traditional media, but then I think AI is also just disrupting the creator space at the moment, right? So you've got these multiple disruptions going at the moment. But I think, to answer your question, I think we're going to see successes in all these places. We also, by the way, have an investment in a vertical video company called Holy Water, which we're seeing massive exponential growth and learning from traditional filmmakers in that space. I think there could well be a hit in that space. So it will be all of the above. But I think, if you were to tell me, I think there's obviously going to continue to be hits in traditional space, but I really believe there's going to continue to be different types of genre hits from the creative space. I think you are going to see more and more and more of that, and not just the idea of I saw this on YouTube, Netflix bought. I think Netflix announced today that they're doing a version of Hot Ones, right? I think they just. I just read that this morning. Well, don't quote me. I think I read that. It was early. So I think that's going to happen. But I'm talking about much more I don't know, different types of formats, dramas, animation. I think you're going to see a lot of that. You've seen it with Has Been Hotel already.
Yeah.
So I know it's kind of dodging the question. The truth is that Fox hits in the future are going to come from all of the above.
Great. Billy, any...
Yeah, I mean, I think I hope that people continue to be as entrepreneurial as I have seen this place in the short 3 months that I've been here across all platforms, which is to say both in distribution and in aperture for looking for creatives. And I think if your eyes are wide open to wherever creatives come from, and then you're willing to build an ecosystem where you can meet them where they're at, the great hits are going to come from all places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any last World Cup thoughts, just while we have you?
Yeah. England 2,
America's
Ghana 0.
America.
Okay. Billy, Rob, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Janice. Appreciate it.